right, Albie. First of all, I want to let everybody know that you can still get discounts at our merch store.
Yes, 25% off and free shipping through 12/8. So there's still a few more days to get those discounts. There's, of course, Tom's MILF Hound shirts.
Come on, I got it. My life will be complete if I see a human being, male, wearing one. I've gotten
DEI, Native American Scientist, created by Google Gemini, which I love. There's traditional, like, Burn Barrel logo shirts.
Well,
there's other, like, fun things. The Step on Wife shirts are always a popular one, too.
Right.
So.
And if I get a guarantee that the Simply MILF t-shirts will work. And I only mentioned the MILF thing because since I'm surrounded by mostly moms and there's some extremely hot ones, I figured, like, why would it be off limits? It's like you're talking about beautiful moms. It's like, and no, that's really just hot moms, and that's like a good thing. It's a good thing. I mean, you've been called a hot mom. Is that a bad thing?
Yeah,
right?
but you know what MILF actually stands for,
yes.
right?
Yes, absolutely.
So, but you're not supposed to go around saying that you want to, you know what, people.
Well, yes, you do. It's been normalized now. Locker room talk. That's what it is. It just means hot.
See what Trump caused.
It just means hot. So, and there's other stuff.
There's a swear word in it.
That's right. That's right. But you know, I know that you're just pretending to be. But you like the idea. You like it when you look good, and you know it, and all that stuff. And so, but all women do, and we've got even some soon-to-be moms, even in the family. As a matter of fact, Alice, and that it'll translate better once you're over on the other side. You'll see. You'll see. Because, well, I don't want to spend too much time on this because I will spend 45 minutes on this because that's me. But so yes, there's other stuff there as well.
Speaking of which, somebody posted like happy 60th Marissa Tomei with like a picture of her looking hot. And I saw some like right-wing alpha male influencer guy tweeting about how it's so embarrassing that everybody's drooling over this fossil with zero useful eggs left.
What a weirdo. What a weirdo. I used to know this.
They said it's a sign of like a pathological problem with modern men that they'd be attracted to old ladies like that.
I used to know this
youthful, fertile women.
I used to know the psychopathic loser who was always bothered by the idea that women go to the bathroom. And he was like, just think about that. They're like gross. You know this. This is an unemployed loser. And I was always like, wow, that's a psychopathic thought. If that's what you think, you have anger at them because they have times where they have to go to the bathroom too. It's like it's a very interesting little insight into somebody. But you know what? You know, despite the fact that women use the bathroom, they're still pretty hot. Marissa Tomei looks pretty damn good. As somebody who me and my friend Jay saw her together in a bar and drank with she and Tarantino, or I should say she was great. Tarantino, I bothered. As if he was a me fan, I bothered him. Yeah, he was wild. I told him to write a letter to my girlfriend then and saying, can you write a letter to my girlfriend saying that she should marry me? And he's like, you want me to do what? You know, he's weird like that. Like, can you write a letter to my girlfriend that she should marry me, Quentin Tarantino? He said, I don't know what you mean, man. Why don't you just write the letter and I'll just sign it? And so that's what I did. And I gave it to her, and because she was a cold, waspy itch bay, this is supple, Alice, I gave it to her, and she just left it at my place.
I have a feeling that Pepper ate some sushi. She smells fishy.
That is not great. I mean, most of it was put back into the... Guys, well, we can't yell at them right now.
I'm not 100% sure, but
okay. Well,
I'll inquire into it later.
I could see it. There was some good stuff up on that table. The good stuff was put in the fridge. If she got into the fridge, then we're euthanizing her. So.
Okay, so and I wasn't going to talk about this until the Sup With You segment at the end of the show when we talk about things we've watched this week. But since we're talking about women daring to get old and whether or not women are attractive when they get old, I want to... Yeah, maybe you should grab him, James. I'm sorry. Thank you. I do want to talk about the movie we watched yesterday. Because...
Yes.
So, and I've been curious about this movie. You know, my expectations were not super high. We watched the Lindsay Lohan Christmas rom-com on Netflix that is out. It's called Our Little Secret. And I mean, like, you and I both like cheesy Hallmark movie, like Christmas movie type of things, right? Like, is that fair to say?
Not in the same way people try to be ironic and interesting. Like they'll watch like kung fu movies from the 70s that you can't understand. I had friends who were always like that.
They're just nice. Everything's clean. The houses look beautiful.
Exactly. There's no pressure. There's no anxiety. It's no. I don't have to do any work.
You know everything that's gonna happen.
Exactly. It's almost like listening to like my daughter likes some jazz musicians, some new fusion jazz musicians, and even though they don't do songs, they just do kind of music. It's no trouble. It's no trouble
No
whatsoever.
stress.
It's there. It's fine. There's a brush on a snare drum happening and some bass and fine. And that's why those rom-coms are nice and simple and easy. Don't worry about it. Not too deeply invested. It's nice and easy.
So my expectations weren't like, I wasn't expecting this to be like a modern film masterpiece.
Right.
Right. But like, Lindsay Lohan's a fairly decent actress.
Well, no, I mean, I think that's the only positive takeaway from this thing last night is just how really good she is.
So I thought it would like be fine. And Kristen Chenoweth is in it, she's one of the original Broadway Wicked stars. She's like she also, like Lindsay Lohan, is kind of like a known cult favorite good person. That was the mother-in-law character.
Yeah, didn't like her character.
Well, they were having her look like a certain thing, but whatever. Anyway, so I was so disappointed. It was so bad. Like, was the script written by AI? Like, you guys can be honest. I just don't understand why it was this bad. These movies are formulaic and bad, but they're formulaic and bad in an enjoyable way. But this was literally terrible. And I like looked through reviews and I was seeing a ton of people being like, yes, can't wait to add this to my holiday rewatch list. This was so great. This was hilarious. This was so romantic.
Why aren't we waiting for what's up with you for this?
Because we were talking about women getting old. So, and part of the reason I was curious about this movie, if I'm being honest, is because Lindsay Lohan has recently been appearing in public with an entirely new face that she has had grafted onto her head that looks nothing like her old face.
Yes, and she is. I'm sorry,
Which is
Alice.
fine.
You're going to be angry at me for saying this, but she looks about as youthful as that chick who was on. What's the hospital one with Patrick McSteamy?
Yes, I know what you mean. General Anatomy.
Grey's Anatomy.
Grey's Anatomy.
Yeah, no, she's whoever that chick is. She's from Massachusetts. She might even be from like Saugus. Who, yeah, Lindsay Lohan. She doesn't have to look young, but they made her character young.
So there were mistakes made. So, okay. So Lindsay Lohan, she has an all new face. I've been thinking she looks like fairly good, honestly, compared to like, I mean, she looked 80 and now she looks 60. So I guess that's like an improvement. But she looks the same age as Kristen Chenoweth in the movie, who's supposed to be like her mother-in-law type of character.
Yes.
And I'm curious, like, how old Kristen Chenoweth is, because they look the same age. So Kristen Chenoweth is 56, and Lindsay Lohan's my age. She's 38.
That is unfreaking believable.
She's my age.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, it's funny whenever you see pictures of her, like, out in public, and people are like, oh my God, she looks amazing. See what getting clean will do? Like, no, it's not getting clean. She's had a massive facelift. But anyway, she still looks old. She just looks like better rich person old, like not like, you know, lady
Not
smoking
wasted.
outside the liquor store in New England old. Like, you know, like there's a difference, and it looks better, I think. I think she looks better than she did when she was like literally a drug addict and crazy looking. But okay. Anyway, she looks really old. She looks old enough that in the beginning part of the movie, when they had her and the love interest, like as their young selves, when they knew each other back in high school, they should have had a child actor playing her and not her.
Yes.
Because inexplicably, there's this like 50-something looking year old woman who's pretending to be a high schooler, which I just found so unbelievably... Like, it just took you out of it so much. You're like, why is this old woman pretending that she's having, like, a college going away party? Like, what are we doing?
Well,
like, this is insane. So, but whatever. That's fine.
But it also starts off, like, dark. Like, the lead male character is like, incredibly wasted and makes a dark ass of himself. And
But that's not even the bigger problem. Like, the darkness isn't even the issue much as, like, the lack of any character defining for any of the characters whatsoever. Like, literally not one of them has an interest. Not one of them is shown, like, doing anything or having a personality. They don't even have jobs, these people in this movie. Their job is literally, she has an MBA and she's in business. And he wants to get her help writing a business proposal because she's in business. And she's like, well, how do you know what I do? And he's like, well, I saw your business card for writing business proposal. You're a business consultant because you got an MBA. So you're a business person. Like, one of the charms of silly Hallmark movies is that they generally have completely implausible but slightly charming jobs. Like, they run a coffee shop or a bookstore or something.
Artisan bread.
Right. There's some kind of gimmick. It's fake. It's stupid. But, like, to not even take the effort to, like, give them a real job. Like, there's nothing there. The leads have zero chemistry whatsoever. This is why I say this was written by an AI. There's, like, people showing up and they're, like, doing Christmas things.
Right.
But there's no...
Yeah, at some point they say, oh, do the quirky thing that makes us like them and opt in the AI, and it doesn't work. We go blow past that because there's nothing that makes you like them or care if they get together or care what happens to them or care if their spouses actually get together. It's just a terrible trog. It is a terrible flop. Nothing happens. You see the gags coming from a mile away. It is just absolutely, it is a thorough waste of your time. It actually, in a sense, it causes you to do some work because I was trying to fix the movie in my head for most of it. I'm like, what could they do radically at this point if they fire everybody on?
But the ages of the characters make no sense. Like I said, like, she looks the same age as, like, the mother.
Nobody's believable.
The mom of the guy she's supposedly dating.
Yep.
And then the guy she's supposedly dating, somehow, she looks like between 50 and 60. The guy she's dating looks probably in his 30s. And then the, like, girl he leaves her for that's his ex looks like 20.
Right. Okay.
So there's no logic to who's cast as anything. Nothing makes sense. It's so
Alice,
stupid.
I'm going to implore us to now start the show.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Okay, no,
I'm sorry.
okay.
This has been weighing on me. And if we're talking about women looking older, and, like, I think,
apologize to everybody who's checking us out for the first time live as well. This is not
Lindsay
usually
Lohan,
how it starts.
It's not, but I think Lindsay Lohan's actually a good actress, and she would be a better actress if she acted in things that were, like, about human beings.
Yes.
Instead of, like, whatever that was.
Well, or she also should have taken the mother role on this. She can't be that person. She's not. She's dunzo as far as being that person goes. Alice, you played this audio for me earlier, and I think this is. I was intrigued. I did not know who it was until you gave me a hint.
You know, if we're talking about Trump, I think it's very interesting. I'm actually very optimistic this time around that we're going to see. I'm very hopeful about this. He seems to have a lot of energy around reducing regulation. And my point of view, if I can help him do that, I'm going to help him. Because we do have too much regulation in this country. This country is so set up to grow. By the way, all of our problems, all of our economic problems, like if you look at the deficit and the debt, the national debt, and how gigantic it is as a portion of GDP. These are real problems, and they're real long-term problems. And the way you get out of them is by outgrowing them. You're going to solve the problem of the national debt by making it a smaller percentage of GDP, not by shrinking the national debt, but by growing the GDP. You have to grow the denominator.
That is a perfectly said thing. Absolutely true. It works, and we talked about it in our own family, our personal finances.
Yeah, there's two ways to get out of debt. One is to spend less money, and two is to make more money.
Well, right. Exactly. And that's what's got to happen. And so when people are excited about Trump's deregulation, that was the whole thing. When you're deregulating like Trump did, you are giving a sign to investors, to business people, to current existing industries, that it is go time.
And that's how people miss the point about the, like, Department of Government Efficiency DOGE thing, right? Is because they think that the point is to like get rid of. Remember when waste, fraud, and abuse was like a big Republican talking point? We need to get rid of all the waste, fraud, and abuse. And people would say like, that's just not a big enough amount of the government to get rid of. Like that won't make a difference. You could get rid of all the waste, fraud, and abuse, but Medicare and Medicaid, the defense budget, and the payments on the debt are like way too big for that to make a difference. The problem is not that getting rid of those government employees saves us that much money in total compared to the size of the federal budget or the national debt or any of that. The point is that every one of those federal employees is making life harder in America.
Well, of course.
And cutting off the growth of the country and throttling people who want to do stuff in this country. So these are my hints about who this is, who's saying this. I'm really curious if anybody in the chat can guess who this is, who sounds so enthusiastic about the Trump presidency at this like conference or interview or whatever he's at here. Do you want to play any more of it or no?
Yeah.
Because nobody's guessed yet. So I'm really curious to see, because he's not a guy with a very recognizable voice. At least I don't hear him talk that much.
And that means you have to grow GDP at 3, 4, 5% a year, and let the national debt grow slower than that. If you can do that, this is a very manageable problem. So we need a growth orientation in this country.
I'd almost at this point, if you hadn't told me, I'd almost guess it was Zuckerberg. Sounds a little bit about like Zuckerberg.
This is the most important thing, a growth mindset. And we are the luckiest country in the world. We have all these natural resources, including energy independence. We have the best risk capital system in the world by far. So, people get confused about why does the United States have so much...
Why are they refusing to guess?
Nobody's guessing.
Guess, just put a name down.
Oh.
There we go.
We have it, Bezos, in the chat. Absolutely right.
Right. And yeah, the spirit of that thing in also the Trump, he is a full go for the energy sector. They are chomping at the bit for this guy to start deregulating and start. It's so interesting. I've talked to him.
Well, because it's interesting too, because he's another space company.
Well,
so
yeah.
if you buy into the narrative that Elon Musk is just looking for government handouts. I saw somebody complaining that he's looking for government handouts to colonize Mars, which is like the most wasteful product you could possibly do. First of all, it's not the most wasteful product you could possibly do. The space program now it's completely defunct and NASA is a mess. But but historically,
Elon is NASA.
Historically, the space program has been a huge source of innovation in the United States. Because when you set out with a goal to do something, and it's the same like with the military, has been a huge source of innovation too, because they're specifically trying to do a real thing, and the innovation happens along the way. Innovation doesn't happen, for the most part, with some exceptions, when people just like sit down and ponder things.
Right.
It happens when people are trying to solve a real problem. So trying to put human beings on Mars is a really tough problem to solve. You need to be very creative and have all kinds of technical solutions to do it. Just like it took a lot of technical solutions to beat the Nazis. Just like it took a lot of technical solutions to put people on the moon. Just like it took a lot of technical solutions even to beat the South in the Civil War. Right? Like there are real benefits to spending money to solve real problems that you have to solve. Right?
Yes.
So that money is not going to be wasted trying to send people to Mars. But there are people that think that Elon Musk is only being involved in this whole government thing so he can get government handouts for his stupid program to send people to Mars. Like, people are dumb, but this is what they think for whatever reason. But you would think then that Jeff Bezos, who runs a space program that competes with Elon Musk's space program, wouldn't want Elon Musk to be in charge of stuff and wouldn't be encouraged and optimistic. But what Elon Musk wants to do benefits everybody.
Well,
but not just him.
Well, despite us going to Mars,
right.
There's no value in going to Mars.
Yeah, there is.
No, there is not.
There is.
No, but there's a value
We're going
in
to become an interplanetary species. That's what Elon Musk keeps saying.
I'd rather just have the universe be destroyed.
Oh, speaking of which, Tom's going to be with George Capalbo tomorrow in Connecticut. Are you Glastonbury tomorrow?
Glastonbury. Come see us at the Homewood Suites in Glastonbury. I'll be in the front wearing that Santa suit, as a matter of fact, right there.
George probably thinks it's cool going to space.
George does think it. He'll want to talk about this tomorrow. We can come by and say hi. If you're in Connecticut, come by and say hi. Please do.
I won't be there tomorrow. I'll be there next week, though, and the week after, actually, also. So
here we go. Well, people get to meet you.
Yes.
Can they touch you?
So if you're waiting for me, don't see Tom tomorrow. But
can they touch you, or
no,
will there be stanchions around you like usual?
My bodyguards will take you out. That's you. You're my bodyguards.
All right. So, do you want to get to Alex Cooper or no?
Yeah, let's talk Alex Cooper.
Okay. I like her because she's blonde and hot. And so I don't know much about her, but she's the call her daddy chick. So I want to know what you make of this, Alice, because I don't know what you make of this, and I have questions.
There's a little bit of controversy about that.
So the New York Times is interviewing her.
That podcast, because you did. Oh. Do you know about this?
No, what?
Because in D.C., this interview happened in D.C.
Yeah.
Way to be up on the news cycle, Alex. Yes, you were talked about when you had Kamala Harris on.
In a hotel.
Yeah, not in a hotel. It was like a random house.
It was like a random house. But apparently, you can tell me, they spent, meaning the Harris campaign spent like $100,000.
I did see
you
that.
know about this?
It's hilarious.
To build the studio.
Yeah, that's not true.
Not true. To make it look like it was the studio that you used in L.A.
My studio that is gorgeous in Los Angeles doesn't even cost six figures. So I don't know how cardboard walls could cost six figures, but...
But do you think they did that? I mean, you saw it.
Absolutely not. With love to them. Oh my God, it was gorgeous, but like, it wasn't that nice. It wasn't like gorgeous marble. Like, no, that was not six figures.
So what do you make of that? Either it wasn't six figures or they spent six figures for the cardboard.
Well, but doesn't that just they spent way more than it was worth?
Right.
Grifters
Okay. That's what
grift.
yeah.
This is favors to people.
Oh.
Somebody's friend's production company.
Right.
I'm sure gave them an absurd quote for what was fair market value for their stupid set, and they paid them.
They had $1 billion to blow, and they blew it.
They did.
In change.
They did. I mean, not that I think that if they didn't waste money on stupid stuff like a set for Alex Cooper to interview Kamala Harris, that they would have like won if they'd spent their money in some smarter way. Like, no, I don't. I think especially because of the type of media environment we live in, the money spent on these presidential campaigns matters almost less than ever. Like, I think it nibbles a little bit at the margins with some of the ads and stuff, like TV ads, things like that. But, and obviously sort of the basic needs of the campaign, planes to fly people places. You want to be able to run rallies. You want to be able to do these things, right? But like, what they did was so insane. I mean, and I don't think, like I say, I don't think they could have spent the money in a way to better move the needle. Do you?
Kamala?
Yeah. Like, I mean, obviously this was all a waste of money, but
I think that they could have spent, if somebody could chip her so that when they say, what's going to make you different than Biden? And she says, nothing. It's going to be the same thing. I mean, when his...
Splash in the chest is almost like they were embezzling money and not spending it on the campaign.
Yeah. And we'll find out more about that, too. Definitely.
We will, because this is a public record who they paid to make that set.
Yeah, I think it's beautiful. I think
it's also really funny and frankly damning that Alex Cooper laughs about it. Oh, yeah, I heard that story, huh? Like, Kamala Harris is a joke to her. And, like, yeah, Alex Cooper's a grifter. She just took money to have Kamala Harris on. She didn't care.
That's not a grifter. That's a capitalist with a mark. You say these fools are cutting checks for this crap. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
So
there was once a political campaign that I don't know if this is the same thing, but there was a political campaign that was actually over a referendum question that paid for advertising on Boston Herald Radio, even though we had hardly any audience whatsoever. And that's my version of, okay, it's the last minutes of this referendum question.
I think that
they're throwing
also, and I don't
mention which one.
Well, not a referendum question, but a particular candidate, but I kind of want to say his name because...
No. So this was for the referendum.
No, but I specifically remember a candidate who did also because he had money to burn at the end of his campaign. And really? I wouldn't mind, but I wouldn't probably say his name if I liked him, but he's also turned into like a staunch, principled, never Trumper Republican.
Oh, I don't know. Who's that?
Remember the guy who ran for Senate? Herr?
No.
Forget his first name.
Really? No, I don't remember him. No, that's not what I'm talking about. No.
But I remember him buying it. Brian Herr, I think.
Oh, it seems. Oh, is it? Oh, yeah. Is this a guy who had the 1,000
It was the
fires?
year Charlie Baker won. It was in 2018.
No, he won twice.
Yeah, Brian Herr, Republican candidate for U.S. Senate. Oh, the time before that then, 2014. It must have been 2014. That makes more sense, too, with the timeline. Brian Herr was a 2014 Republican candidate against Ed Markey. Yeah, but I remember it because he spent money on Boston Herald Radio because he had money left at the end of his campaign.
Okay. Oh,
so
good for him. Thank you, Brian.
Good work.
But
normally I wouldn't call out a fellow Republican just for, team solidarity, but because you turned on Trump, I don't mind.
Yeah. Okay, so listen. This is the audio of the day. This is the Trump assassination hearing. This is Pat Fallon asked the Secret Service Director, Ronald Rowe. This guy, it took him a few weeks before he even went down to Butler, Pennsylvania. This is after they whacked the girl. This is the Rowe, the guy.
Yeah.
And so then he was seen in a photo op at the 9/11 ceremonies hanging out with Trump and Biden. And he wasn't part of the detail or anything. He was just hanging out, getting in the photo op. And this Rep Fallon is asking him why he's in this photo, why he's there if he's not working, what's he trying to do? And that's not even the question, which to me is neither here nor there, kind of. But this guy Rowe is a little frigging sensitive about this. This is amazing.
So I got another question for you. Do you recognize this photo?
It's him, Trump, Biden.
Yes, sir, I do.
Okay. Was that the remembrance of September 11th?
It was.
Was it in New York?
It was at Ground Zero.
Okay. Who's usually at an event like this closest to the President of the United States, security-wise?
The SAC of the detail.
Special agent in charge of the detail. Were you the special agent in charge of the detail that day?
Actually, let me address this. Could you please, staff, leave that? Oh, no, leave that one up with the circle around me. Thank you. So actually, Congressman, what you're not seeing is the SAC of the detail out of the picture's view. And that is the day where we remember the more than 3,000 people that have died on 9/11. I actually responded to Ground Zero. I was there going through the ashes of the World Trade Center. I was there at Fresh Kills.
I'm not asking you that. I'm asking you,
Congressman.
Were you the special agent in charge?
To show respect for a Secret Service member that died on 9/11.
Oh, that you're trying to be.
Do not invoke 9/11 for political purposes.
Oh, I'm not. I'm invoking this.
You are, sir.
Gentlemen,
and you are out of line.
I would like to ask him a question.
Please. You are out of line, Congressman.
Don't try to bully me. I am an elected member of Congress, and I'm asking you a serious question, and you are playing politics.
I am a public servant who has served this nation, and
you won't answer the question.
On our country's darkest day.
Committee will come to order.
Committee will come to order.
I'm asking you serious questions for the American people, and they're very simple. They're not trick questions. Were you the special agent in charge that day?
No, I wasn't. I was there representing the United States Secret Service, sir.
Mr. Fallon, your time's expired.
Did not affect protective operations.
You know why you were there? Because you wanted to be visible, because you are auditioning for this job.
I was there to pay respect for a fallen member of this agency.
You endangered President Biden's life, Vice President Harris's life, because you put those agents out of position.
Mr.
Did you have a radio with you?
Mr. Fallon, your time has expired.
Did you have a weapon?
No, I did, sir, and you are out of line.
Mr. Chairman.
Dignity.
Yes, sir.
Please.
All right. And we are back in order now. We are back in order now.
Thank you.
Mr. Moskowitz, you are now recognized for 5 minutes.
Okay. So, obviously...
I'm back. I always say I want the cameras taken out of Congress. I like this. If they can do this all the time.
This Secret Service dude is very, very, very,
That's an angry dude.
Very sensitive about this subject. Very sensitive. And you ask why? Like, why does this bother you so much? Why are you losing all decorum here? I mean, the congressman's yelling already. You win this if you can keep it together. But he is very defensive for some reason.
Mm-hmm. And the Secret Service is already under such scrutiny right now for the way they handled the Trump assassination attempts and stuff, and the way it's been discussed that potentially they didn't have enough protection for him because they were doing other stuff, like with the First Lady, who nobody on planet Earth is trying to assassinate Jill Biden.
Right.
That's just a fact. Nobody's trying to do anything to Jill Biden. But it's interesting that with the agency under such political scrutiny, and like, when was the Secret Service founded?
As the Secret Service? Jeez, I don't know. Maybe, I don't know, in the 30s? Garfield got shot? I'm not sure.
But, like...
It was under Treasury forever, and then it switched to Homeland Security.
There's not necessarily, like... so it said, this says they have 150 years of history, right?
Okay.
Founded in 1865 as part of the Treasury.
Okay.
They're counting that. So I assume that's like
they
a
used
Lincoln
to do counterfeiting,
thing.
Yeah.
But I guess like there's not a lot of the Secret Service has been a pretty apolitical agency, right? Like people haven't had a big problem with the Secret Service ever.
Not politically.
Not until recently, right?
Well, in the last 20 years, they've had a whole bunch of partying too hard, too many hookers.
Oh, yeah, that stuff. But in terms of like politically being on like one side or the other.
No.
Right? Like where one side doesn't like them or whatever. Until the Trump assassination stuff and the way they handled that, I don't think anybody on the right like had any particular problem with the Secret Service the way they do with like DOJ departments and stuff, right?
Exactly. They wokeified it.
Right. So with the Secret Service, like under this scrutiny and in this place, why would you go into Congress and start yelling at people? Like in this way, in this self-righteous, like personalizing it way, like I'm a public servant. Nobody good ever talks about how they're a public servant. Do you know what I mean?
Yep.
Like it's only the worst possible, most deranged hacks who are defensive about what a public servant they are.
Oh, the self-importance is amazing. Amazing. And you made the point earlier that these people are unelected.
Yeah, we didn't elect you.
Right, but he's shouting at somebody who was elected.
Right. Right, exactly. Like, no one cares. You're all government hacks, as far as I'm concerned, especially, like, all the government agencies that carry guns and have the right to shoot people. You can all put your jobs on the chopping block, as far as I'm concerned. Go get some private security job and yell at your boss like that and see how it goes.
Yeah, totally.
I mean, like, that's my feeling. And honestly, like, in this day and age, maybe we can do without the Secret Service. Like, maybe we can do some kind of, like, privatized security solution or something.
They
like,
brought
I
this
don't know.
dumb broad in. She decided to wokeify it and make sure that they were hitting all their equity numbers. She came up with the idea. By the way, when she said, and I think to Congress reiterated that the roof angle was too sloped to protect him, that's an outright lie. I believe that's some kind of perjury, lying to Congress or something.
They could hold her in contempt of Congress like they sent Steve Bannon to jail for.
Well, that's precisely, there should be Kash Patel should be on her ass. Absolutely. And this guy's, anybody who was on site there who fucked around, well, the locals, dudes eating popcorn are saying, there's a guy with a gun up there. I want them all investigated. I want to see all their texts. I want to see all the CYA. I want to see everything on every person there. Freaking dare you let the guy freaking get off more than one shot. And the president from an easily accessible roof right there. Freaking dare you. I want this guy's ass in a sling. Being like, I want thousands of these people fired.
I'm a public servant. How dare you question how great I am? Like, it shouldn't be about you.
And he also used 9/11.
The fact that you and me
criticize me 9/11 when I was there. Okay, if you're overly emotional because 9/11 is in a picture and you emotionally can't help but make it about you and veer off away from answering the question into your psychotic tirade, you're effing fired.
Right, but there's too much of this. I mean, on the right, too, there's some of this, but on the left, certainly there's way too much of this, like, personalizing of everything. People nowadays are like encouraged to make everything about themselves. It's all about me. I'm such a public servant. I'm bothered by this. I'm offended. I'm this. I'm that. And like, I was talking to you about it because this case is in the Supreme Court right now about whether they're going to let the children transgender medical treatments bill that bans these treatments for children, if they're going to let that stand. And the person arguing to allow transgender treatments on kids is Chase Strangio from the ACLU.
Oh, we played that.
Yeah, so we played some of them the other day. Like, what a terrible, terrible ambassador for this movement. How can anybody take this person seriously? Right? Like, you're going to send this person out here to make the argument that these treatments don't cause long-term damage, and the psychological state of all the people who are taking hormones for decades is completely fine, and this is really fine and great and healthy. And you're going to send out this like malformed weirdo freak out here with this weird mustache to us.
States that ban this type of evidence-based healthcare. We went from 0 states that had these bans in 2020 to now more than half the country. So before the court tomorrow, the question is really a simple one as I see it. It's really, this is a law that bans medical treatment only when it is prescribed inconsistent with an individual's sex. Our argument is that treats people differently because of their sex, and therefore the court has to treat it like all other forms.
Okay, psycho. Well, I mean, Sotomayor is no better. I mean, although she's just psychotic but doesn't wear it on her sleeve.
I said to you today, like, not for the first time with the Supreme Court, and especially whenever Sotomayor talks or Ketanji Brown Jackson talks, thank God Trump won and not Hillary.
Totally true.
Because imagine if we like had a 6-3 majority the other way, and we had to like hope that Elena Kagan and Merrick Garland would be freaking sane enough to not side with the most insane people on the planet. Like, thank God the adults are in the room right now, because and Kagan sometimes is quite good, actually. I think, you know, sometimes it's like
she's smart anyway.
Yeah, sometimes it's like her and Gorsuch about like civil liberties or something. So she tends to be a little more like, she's more willing to break than the other people who are sometimes like just purely ideological. But it's interesting because yeah, that's one where I like cross myself and pray like, wow, we really dodged a bullet with some of this stuff on the Supreme Court.
Alice, I have a question for you.
Yes.
Oh, by the way, we have one more issue before we get going.
Okay.
Is it time, since now we've been looking at how people consume podcasts, including, well, not maybe the Bear and Barrel quite yet. And it's like today we played a bunch of audio, etc. Is it time, Alice, with your new engorged paycheck?
Okay.
Is it time? Dan, I don't love this. Is it time to hop on StreamYard?
We've had StreamYard in the past.
We have?
Yeah.
You and I?
Yeah.
So we played videos?
No, we got it. I forgot why we got it.
We got it because we were filling in for Jerry Callahan or whatever.
But
so do we?
We can play videos on this.
We can?
And I think now, because I can send Bluetooth audio to that thing, I might be able to do it from here.
Oh, it's not that thing.
Our Roadcaster that Dennis got us.
It's Dennis from Hingham
right.
Roadcaster.
Right.
Exactly. Okay, so anyway.
You want to be able to play video in the video.
I mean, if it's
relevant,
plug and play or whatever, then sure.
Maybe we should experiment with it this weekend.
And also, because we talked that nobody is listening has seen the Lindsay Lohan movie. It would be easier if we had a scene. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. People could see how she looks, etc.
Right.
And this fight in Congress that happened, etc. This is our new what's up with you? Is this discussion? So I guess we'll discuss it. We should think about it. Have you any thoughts on the Chat Chat?
I think we should play the Chat Chat.
All right, let's go. Okay. Here we go. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
By the way, so these are the 4 things are 4 messages.
Okay, we still didn't play the all-you-can-eat message on the all-you-can-eat show, by the way.
That's my fault. That's my fault. I know if you left that message, we will get it. I promise. Dang, we'll have to do it this weekend.
Okay.
One is from Anonymous. So I don't know who that is. A lot of times that's Steve from Gloucester. Now, you could also just put your name in there so I would know, so that way I would know to separate if you have multiple messages. That's okay. The second one is called Okay This Second. So I don't know if that means that play the first one first, but I don't know who it is, and this one second, or okay, the second. I don't know what that means, but that's fine. But I'm thankful for the message anyway. The third one says Dr. Cheswick. That I know who that is, because only one person says that, and it's always Dr. Cheswick. And the second one is Jennifer Imperito. We know who that is,
and she's also Jennifer Imperito. That's
exactly.
a real person.
We're gonna go in that order, okay?
Okay.
Well, we're gonna skip okay this second.
I think Anonymous must be with okay this second, right? As in play Anonymous first and then the second.
Okay, I'm going to play okay this second, but not second, because that's then 4 minutes worth of messages. So I'm playing Anonymous, Dr. Cheswick, okay this second, Jennifer Imperito.
Okay.
Hey, Pussy Paul in the car. I really feel bad for you. I didn't know you had diarrhea of the mouth. It must be a really hard thing to deal with. And I'm saying this because...
What did Paul in the car say? Was that yesterday?
I don't remember.
Comments about Kirk Minahan are 100% ignorant and not true at all.
Oh, I see. Yeah, he slammed Kirk, right?
You realize that Kirk Minahan is an entertainer, and the things that he says and does when the red light is on are done for entertainment purposes and to get people to laugh, to get people upset, to make people happy. I mean, that's just the type of person that Kirk is when the red light is on.
He just gives
and if you've ever had a conversation with him...
So give me a sign that you're going to speak, because Cullinane is going to scrape this from start to finish, so we don't want him to have to do much editing.
Sorry.
Behind the scenes, you will realize that he's totally different.
This is a triple bang shot from Steve from Gloucester. Using the collar, attacking Kirk to do the Shat Shack to defend Kirk so that Dave grabs it and plays it on Kirk.
So that everyone will see how much he loves Kirk.
Exactly. It's a good move. I got no problem with
it. From that person that you have listened to on the radio or, listen to now on his podcast. He really is a down-to-earth, sincere, caring individual. And Tom, I'm sure you can agree.
I agree.
That, he does care about his fans, even though he says on air that he doesn't. So, Paul, I really think that you should...
Steve, I don't think he's a fan of the show, of Kirk's show. And people don't have to be. As a matter of fact...
It doesn't do it for everybody.
If you were just tuning in now on year 5 of the Kirk Minahan show on Barstool, starting right now, you'd be like, holy hell.
What is this?
Yes, what is this universe? It's really, for me, you gotta start back there.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely, I think, it takes a little getting used to, because obviously I didn't used to listen with you at all.
Right.
But I do now. Mm-hmm. And you and I both enjoy the show.
Oh, hell yeah.
I'm always laughing when I have it on.
Of course.
But I also understand that it's like not everyone's thing, which is fine because we live in the golden age of podcasts when there's so much out there that like you don't have to listen to anything you don't like.
Yeah.
Really reconsider your statements because they are just so off base. And of course, I am definitely biased. I've been a huge fan of his since his WEEI days. I'm a third chair on his show. I was part of the live show in Portland.
He was.
So, I definitely am going to always be loyal to Kirk and always have his back. But I say this also because I know the type of person that Kirk is when the red light is not on. And if you were to ever talk to him for even 5 minutes, you would have a different impression of him. So smarten up, buddy, because right now what you're saying is just totally, totally untrue. You're an idiot.
My goodness.
I also don't think that Kirk Minahan's feelings are hurt by anything.
But you don't think Paul in the car has him crushed? It's possible.
It cares about anything that the Burn Barrel Shot Track callers say about him.
Hi, it's Dr. Cheswick. I'm sitting at my desk working on my computer, and
I'm wearing a blue shirt. I'm on Pequot
I'm a
land.
Caucasian male.
Yes.
Am on stolen land from the. You guys wanted us to tell you where we were, what we were doing.
Yes.
Wearing clothing made by children in a foreign country. And
same here.
Yeah. Anyway, next time you want to play stuff from The View, just do it once. All right?
Did we do
Because it is legit like fingernails down a blackboard.
I got a very negative review on air about playing The View, too.
Really?
Yeah, people don't like to hear it.
You know, I just cannot take it. I can't stand it.
Dr. Cheswick, I understand. Believe me, I understand. But I think they're a barometer for where cosmopolitan women voters are.
And I don't want to go looking for other podcasts.
What?
Because I really like you
There
guys.
are no others.
And I've been listening since the very beginning.
Thank you.
And I don't know why, but I think it's because I used to listen to Tom on Old Herald Radio, and
I love that, Dr. Cheswick. I love that. I don't know if it registered in the numbers, but I love that you listen to Herald Radio, because we were
one of the 17.
We had a phone where you could call in, and it did not ring. But we were there. I was talking to ourselves as far
Sometimes
as we.
I called in.
You did?
Occasionally.
No, you didn't.
And that went under suddenly, and then he had a podcast, and I thought, oh, this is good, because I actually kind of like that guy.
Thank you.
Not in a kiss me and I'll buy you drinks kind of way.
Either, whatever way, I as long as it's about me, I'm all for it.
More of a, we're thinking similarly, and we're sort of close in age. So anyway, please keep the view cuts to a minimum. I know I am dictating protocol, but we got to have some kind of restraint.
Well, there you go.
Thank you for the feedback. Appreciate that.
Yes. And you know what? See how smart he was? He said, cut the view cuts, and then he said a whole bunch of good things about me. So that's all you need. Thank you, James.
Peter Rabbit is joined as third chair.
Hey, guys, I'm sorry to leave a second message
That's
about
okay.
this, but Paul McCarr really upset me with his ignorant comment about Kirk. Does he not realize that the burn barrel probably doesn't happen without Kirk Minahan?
Negatory, man. That is not true, Steve. No. I managed to get myself into Intercom in 2004 at the front desk. Got to be executive producer within 1 year. Spent a couple of years toiling there, trying to learn what radio was about, and then got a job. I emailed the PD of 96.9 FM. This is all before he was doing baseball cards at all when all this happened, and got a job on FM Talk, and from there, that's where my on air stuff happened. Kirk is not. Now he has. There's no doubt. The promotion from being on his show is huge. That is true. Am I being oversensitive already? I spent a lot of time rewriting this.
Doesn't he realize that Kirk and Callahan were very, very successful on WEEI?
Yes.
They were both...
Callahan before Kirk, technically.
That's true. But, yeah, they really were... once the 93.7 went and ate their lunch, then it looked like that was going to be the end. I mean, of EEI. And then and then Kirk going in there absolutely supercharged the show. But yes, I have gotten great promotion from Kirk, which I appreciate, and from Jerry. So those are the things from WT 96.9, Kirk, Jerry, and I guess Herald Radio.
Fired because of Bob Murchison and what happened back then. The Globe influenced the firings. I mean, it was shenanigans at its best. So Kirk creates his own podcast, which is wildly popular.
Yes.
And Jerry creates his own podcast, which does very well.
Mm-hmm.
And when Jerry first started, he had guests on the show on a weekly basis. Tom, you were one of them.
I see what he's saying. He makes a point now. So the chain reaction was that Kirk is incendiary.
Kirk created Jerry Callahan.
Well, Kirk created Jerry's podcast, who brought me on because he got them fired.
Okay.
So there you go. So that is valid.
And before that, I didn't really know who you were, and I'm sure many people didn't know who you were.
Mm-hmm.
And what happened?
Not Dr. Cheswick. Dr. Cheswick knew who Tom was.
Dr. Cheswick did. The maitre d' from Grill 23 knew who I was. He saw me at a time, actually, when Chris Curtis was in the restaurant. And there was a certain very attractive young salesperson from 96.9 FM.
I married Tom because I knew who he was. A very attractive young
salesperson from 96.9 FM told you how hot they thought I was, right?
Is that true?
Remember this person from sales who called me a ginger?
He wasn't from sales.
Where was he from?
I think he was like getting coffee or something. I don't know.
He wore a suit, so I think he was from sales.
I don't know.
Sales assistant.
Anyway, he was a larger young gay dude. Tom was very cute and a ginger and complimented my outfit.
Here we go. That counts. I'll take it.
It's your own podcast. So people who listen to Kirk, people who listen to Jerry, naturally...
Steve is so smart. He's so smart with these messages because it gives me plenty of time to talk about me. That's smart, Steve. That's smart.
Gravitated to you and to Alice. And a lot of your listenership comes from Minifans and Jerry fans.
True.
And on top of that, for a while, you guys were also on Kirk's network, which gave you guys even more popularity.
True.
And you were both in studio with Kirk, and he promoted the Burn Barrel on his network, the Barstool brand.
Yeah.
So without Kirk, there's probably no Jerry Callahan podcast. There's no Tom Shattuck.
What?
There's probably no Burn Barrel. And if Kirk were to leave, I'm sure a lot of your listeners will leave with him.
Hey!
So Paul in the car,
what does that mean if Kirk was to leave?
Completely ignorant because
what?
you don't realize the positive impact Kirk Minahan has had to what you listen to on a daily basis.
Steve, you are doing...
Boob.
You are doing some dues paying. I don't even know if Cullinane has enough RAM to record all of this, Steve, but not bad.
I don't know if Kirk can stomach all that.
Yeah, that's not. I doubt much of it's going to get to air. Smart though. It's all the tributaries. They all send this stuff to Dave.
Hello, Alice and Tom.
Hey, Jennifer.
It's Jennifer from Lawrence. I just wanted to throw my 2 cents in. Yeah, which is about all I have sometimes. But
I understand.
Alice, I couldn't be more happy for you at landing this new gig, whatever it is. I'm so happy for you. And Tom, you are absolutely the best. What you go through, your little crisis last January.
Oh, right. Yeah.
And your wanderlust and all that. I am with you.
Thank you, Jennifer.
I am with you. I wanted to say happy belated Thanksgiving, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. If I don't talk with you before then, but I just want to wish you all the best and just rejoice and lavish in this wonderful comeback.
What a positive person, Alice.
Of Republicans, whatever they are, for good or for ill, we're back.
Here we go.
And it's wonderful. I love you guys.
Thank you so much. We appreciate it. We love you too.
We love you too. And it feels like really, honestly, a dam has broken and Republicans are back. Is this what it felt like in the mid 80s when Reagan was popular and like it was totally cool to be a Republican?
This is what it felt like.
Not scary.
This is what it felt like. Exactly. Thank you, Jennifer, so much.
Jeff
We appreciate
Bezos
it.
is on board. Like,
wouldn't kill Steve from Gloucester to say I love you sometimes, you know?
We love you too, Steve, and Jennifer.
Of course. And
Paul
Dr.
in the car. Cheswick and Paul in the car.
Exactly. Everybody. Steve from Merrimack was couldn't be bothered to leave a message tonight. Sorry about that, Steve. I'm sorry. Apparently, I didn't make it a good impression in person. So, although we did talk to him.
Sometimes he listens a day or two late.
I know. He's got a job that needs travels, does stuff. Steve from Merrimack, you need to be doing a podcast or be on TikTok or Instagram.
I'm going to need him to sell somebody a machine to detect my skin cancer in a few years.
Yeah, you're too funny to not be doing tiny dispatches. Let's go.
Thank you so much for listening. Thank you for joining on the live stream. Thank you for leaving chat messages. If you want to watch the live stream every day, that's available at patreon.com/burnbarrel, as well as an ad-free RSS feed if you like to listen on, Apple Podcasts or Spotify or anything like that. You can download that right into your app and listen ad-free if you want to do that. If you like listening for free, I also totally get that. Just go to birdbarrelpodcast.com. There's links to all the places to listen, and click that shop link if you want to buy some merchandise.